Howdy YouTube, and welcome to this episode of the Gunman. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to do some fake candies, how to spray fake candies and how to sort of make up your own colours. So I've got a toolbox over there which I'm going to be spraying. I've got a toolbox that usually sits down here and I put my spray suit and a few other things in it. I've got that and also my booth box that will be spraying. So I've decided that the booth box is going to go green and the toolbox will be going red. So this toolbox here is going to go red. And I'll be doing the lid in blue, I think, and then I might even put some some flakes over the top and see how that looks. But we'll just sort of see how it goes. In this booth here, the airflow runs that way, so I'll be painting down the booth. Any overspray from this will land on that, and then I can tack rag it off, then spray that next, and continue on moving down the booth that way. But we'll have a look at the colour first, and what I'm going to be doing to mix these colours up. So I've got my 3 ground coats. I said that I'm doing the base of the toolbox in the red, I'm doing the booth box in the green, and I'm going to be doing the lid in a sort of a dark blue. Now these colours by themselves, they look pretty terrible and not really much to look at by themselves, but once we formulate our own fake candy, we should be able to make them look pretty good. So they're basically, the base of these is silver metallic. I've then put a little bit of blue. These colours here, they're not actually off a formula or anything. Around this place here, we keep all of our old paint, and being that it's solvent paint, it actually lasts for quite some time. So I just dug through all this paint here and I was able to find a couple of colours. So not going and wasting paint, that's always a good thing. So let's have a look in on my tinting rack and see how I'm going to go about mixing up my intercoat. So that's our base coats, and now we'll get into have a look at what we're going to be putting over the top of those base coats. So I'll give you guys a quick look in the paint room. So most of the colour for the base coat is going to be stabilizer 599. So that's basically just clear base coat. And then we'll be able to put some tinters, so some just standard tinters in with that, and we'll be left with a semi-transparent coat that will still give us a bit of colour. I do recommend making a formula if you're to do anything other than the kind of thing that I'm doing, because if anything happens down the track, I'll just sand the whole thing down and repaint it. I'm not going to have any issues colour matching it, because I'm never going to have to try and colour match it. But if you were to do, say, a respray like this, someday down the track you might want to do a corner of your bumper bar, I would want to know how to mix that colour up. So formulate it. You would just come up to your computer, or your scales, sorry, go like that, zero the scales out, get your 599, go 100 grams. I'm going to go 200 because I think I'll need it for what I'm doing on that the red one. Now I've actually got my own formula here for Sol Red, and I might even just use that formula. That way any of the leftovers I'll be able to keep it for next time Sol Red comes in. Okay, so I've gone up to 200 with my base coat stabilizer. Put that back. Next up, I've actually written this formula down. So for every 100 grams, there's 1 gram of 576. So I'll grab my 576, wherever that is, it's up here, and I'll put 2 grams in because I'll put 200 in. So I'm just doubling that formula. Two grams of that. Next up, 582. And 2 grams of that one too. Next up, 583. What do we got to that one? 6 grams, so we go 12 of that. I'm just adding them up on top of each other. Next up we've got 855. So half a gram of this one, that'll give us 1 full gram of this one. And that should be our intercoat made up. We'll give that a stir up and see how it looks on the stick. So you'll be able to see on that stick that it's still quite transparent. It's actually quite a cool looking colour. It just about looks like blood colour. And we'll then thin that down to the correct thinning ratio of our base coat. In this instance, it's going to be 2:1. So we'll have a look on the side of the can there, look at our measurements. A lot of the time when I'm thinning my base coat down, I don't even really go by the measurements. I just, this is exactly what I do. I'll just go like this, put it in, have a look on the stick. I'll know that that's too thick. You can just tell by how quickly it runs off the stick. I do like to leave my base coats a little bit thicker than they recommend sometimes. Gives you a bit better coverage. It's just about there. Don't want it too thick obviously, or it's just going to come out quite orange peely and the paint just won't sit on there very nice. Alright, so that's our red. So we'll put that down first and then we'll put our fake candy over the top. Next up we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do with this green one. See if we can, I don't have a formula to go off this one, so I'm just going to be making it up by eye. But I want to stick to around 10% of the colour in it. For this is going to be going on the booth box, the green. We'll go around 100 grams. I'll put a bit of this green in. This one's 573, just the emerald. Don't want to overdo it. Put a bit of that yellow in there too. Sort of brighten it up a touch. Usually doesn't look too bad. It's a little bit more transparent than the other one, so I might put a touch more green in. Deepening up. Give my yellow and I think that'll be just about good enough. So this is basically a poor man's candy. I think that it's something if you were doing like full custom work or restos or something like that, you wouldn't stuff around with this, but it'd be like if you just got yourself a cheap Commodore or a Falcon or something like that. You just want to give it a blow over, you want it to look pretty cool with something different that you don't get on your average everyday cars, but you don't want to spend that extra money, just go and whack something like this over the top of it. There's nothing to stop you from doing this in your clear coat as well, but I think this would be the cheaper way to do it, and quicker too. Alright, so again we'll just thin that down. Got no real idea exactly how this one's going to turn out, this green. I've got a basic idea of how the red will look, but we'll find out when we're in there, I guess. Alright, so I've decided to grab lapis blue. Any spray painter who's used Standox before will know that can be a bit of a prick of a tinter when it's in colours. It makes everything go quite red. I'll put a bit of that in and a bit of 859. It's actually looking pretty nice already. I think that's just about all we need for the blue. And just looking at this again though, I think maybe a touch dark. I reckon we want to brighten that up. Yep, so I'll brighten that ground coat up for the blue one. And we'll see how they all go. I guess we'll whack them in a gun each, go in there, give it a tack rag and paint some shit. So I've got my guns out, and this is where it helps to have a few guns so that you don't have to come out in between every single procedure and then have to clean the gun out and put the next one in. So I'm going to go in there with a couple of different colours in the gun, and I'm going to make sure that I filter the paint in there. As I said, some of these paint may have been sitting there for a few months, even to a year plus, so sometimes they can go a little bit lumpy in there. So I'll get a paint strainer. And this is actually one of my new guns. I've just got it sent out by Segola, the Segola 4600 Extreme, not to be confused with the 4500. It's actually like fresh on the market. So you can already see straight away that there's a couple of chunks of silver there that would have ended up coming through the paint. I didn't filter that into there. And we'll put the fake candy into my GTI Pro 1.3. So these have both got 1.3mm setups on them. Most base coats, 1.3 is what you want to be using. You can go 1.2 or 1.4, but I think 1.3 is the way to go. As always, we need to make sure that we wear our protective equipment. I probably should really be wearing a long sleeve shirt and some pants, but for this job here, it's very small parts that I'm going to be painting, and I do have the extraction in the spray booth, so if I was sort of painting in a tent or at home in a garage or something like that, I probably would get my long sleeve pants and shirt on. But yeah, at the very least I'll be wearing the respirator. Most of the time when I'm spraying I do wear an air-fed respirator, but for this job it's something I'm going to be wanting to talk to the camera, and I'll just flick this on and off, and it should be pretty fine. Anyway, we'll get the paint and head in the booth. So the prep work's been done. I've already wiped them down with wax and grease remover as well. All I need to do is just get my tack cloth with the air from the spray gun, and I'll just be wiping that down. I really didn't get too fussed with the prep work on it. I'm just going to paint straight over all of that. There's a few spots that haven't been sanded properly, but hey, it's a toolbox. I'm not really too fussed at all. If it was anything better, I probably would give it a coat of non-sanding primer, wet on wet primer, or sealer, whatever you want to refer to it as, just to seal it down and also sort of act as a bit of a ground coat. And on this part here, I do have a few cut throughs. As I say, I'm really not too fussed about it. There's a possibility they could ring up, but it's never really going to be seen. The way it actually sits up there, it always sits with the lid open anyway. So this is actually going to be, the inside of the lid's going to be the part that I'm going to be looking at every day anyway. So anyway, we'll give it a tack rag and get some of this red down. That's our ground coat down on the toolbox itself. It really does look pretty shitty, and in hindsight it probably is a little bit on the dark side. Could have made it maybe a little bit brighter, but I've got a feeling it's definitely going to come up a lot better with that fake candy over the top of it. Luckily it's a stinking hot day, so it's really not going to take long for that to flash off. You might have noticed that I just put those two coats on basically straight away. I'll blow a bit of air over that, that'll flush it off, and then we'll put this fake candy over the top. Don't forget that respirator. 2 coats. It's starting to bring it up a little bit, but I've got a feeling that ground coat maybe not have been the best, and that's where doing those spray out cards really would have came in handy. I'm confident that the fake candy was actually pretty good, because I know I've used it and replicated Sol Red with exactly that formula. We'll put one more coat on and see how it looks. So that third coat really did bring it up that little bit more, and I reckon by the time we get some clear over that, we'll actually get a nice colour that should pop right up in the sun. It's fairly even. One thing I remember when I went to the DNA paints training course, they said when you're doing candies, spraying candies, you want to sort of start off the panel, so that you're getting exactly even past the whole way through, and you don't end up getting less paint here and less paint there because you didn't actually sort of follow it right through over that panel. So we'll leave that at the red for now, and we'll go get the green for the boost box in the gun. See how they come out. So I've decided to leave it at that for this video, just with a quick look at the finished product. There will be a couple more videos in this series. At this point, I'm actually not sure exactly how many. I'm just going to have a look at the footage and decide as I'm going. So as you can see, with a couple of coats of clear on it, it did come up quite nice. I'm a bit of a fan of that green box, and that's my booth box. I'll be putting a Gunman sticker on it, followed by some booth coating, and it's going to go up in the booth. I also like the inside of the lid on that toolbox. I did the spider's webs and also put a few redback spiders in there. So even that blue on the lid came up very nice. I was quite happy with that. So at the end of the day, you're only limited by your imagination with this, and you don't have to spend big dollars to go and get some really nice finishes in custom paint styles. As you can see, I did put some flakes over the top of that and then smashed a couple of coats of high solids clear. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Give it a thumbs up. Stick around for part 2 in this series. I would like to make a quick apology for the audio in sections of this. I didn't realize that it was so low in the sections that I had the camera on the tripod. Next time I'll know, and I'll be able to put my microphone on in a better position. Now you've seen this video, get out there and paint some shit. Thanks for watching, and this has been another Gunman production. Goodbye.